here. So it is Durban political party. The latest term in Mayapur, Sri Mayapur in India, England, and Ireland. In 1980, he came to South Africa. We played a very pivotal role in the opening of this temple. Sri Radhanath temple. Me and together with His Holiness Bhakti Das Vyas and several other devotees, they collected donations for this temple. So we are very, very indebted to you. He managed the Cape Town temple for a while, and then there was a period in which you left. You came back to the Cape Town temple. Now March oversees the activities in Cape Town, and he currently resides there with his wife Lalita Balaji, his 3 sons in Cape Town, and Marge is an initiating spiritual master. With the disciples, and we had the pleasure of meeting his disciples there yesterday on his initiation yesterday. So, Marge, please welcome you to the Vyasa. Let's have another round of applause. So while we wait for Marge, also I acknowledge Durban Prabhu, a senior devotee. He's for the last 35-40 years. Vishnasari Prabhu, always been there for the time I've come, and several other devotees, leading to Shakti Gopal Prabhu and Hare Krishna. So all of these devotees, the younger ones don't know them. So we don't know about them. We're very indebted to them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Shri Radhanath ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Sriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Prema. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for coming today. As Smita Krishna Prabhu mentioned, sometimes people think one day a week is spiritual enough. But if we really want to be considered part of Krishna's family, then we should come as often as possible, every day. Whenever there's a festival, whenever there's an opportunity to chant Hare Krishna with the devotees, we must grab it. Because this is the mood, this is the Yuga Dharma. I mean, we have our japa beads, and we chant, and that's very important. That's our vow. But the Sankirtan movement is Harinam Sankirtan. And Harinam Sankirtan means congregational chanting. So our nice japa is very important, and it's our link to Krishna for sure. But when it's reinforced by the association of dozens and dozens and hundreds of devotees, then it really impacts the heart. It really purifies the mind, cleanses the heart. So we should take advantage whenever there's an opportunity. Whenever there's an opportunity, devotees are getting together in someone's home, on the streets, some festival, a funeral, whenever there's an opportunity to hear and chant, we should take advantage. That means we have good brains. Srila Prabhupada, when he gave me my name, Medhavi, your name is Medhavi. Medhavi Das. Don't forget the Das. Don't forget the Das. And I was bowing down, offering my obeisances, I had my beads, and he said, Medhavi means one who has a good brain. And of course, don't forget the Das, because that's Krishna, and I'm just his servant. So if a person has a good brain, Krishna Tvidiya Parapanka Pancharantam, there's that verse, and the verse, one of the last verses in the Bhagavatam, mentions, and I can't remember it, but those with sufficient brain substance in this age of Kali, they gather together to chant the holy names of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya, who has appeared with his Angas, and his Angas are his associates, are his devotees, So we take advantage of the association, then our quick advancement in the spiritual life will be there. So we were supposed to have a boat festival today, but the weather god has decided against it. So we were going to read the pastime anyway, because we can enjoy the pastime without getting our feet wet. So, and this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. It's about hearing about Krishna. Hearing about Krishna. If we hear about Krishna, we don't have time to hear our minds tell us all the bad things that are going on in our life. This didn't happen, that didn't happen, this broke down, this bill came through. We listen to all these problems that our mind is speaking to us instead of listening to Krishna's glories. So if we listen to Krishna's glories, we don't have time. We don't have time to listen to all the bad things that our mind is broadcasting inside of our heads or in our hearts. So it's important that we accept that. And that is what Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is actually Shuka. Shuka is a parrot. Radharani's parrot. Shuka and Sara. So it's mentioned, we were speaking yesterday, that Sukadeva Goswami never even mentions Srimati Radharani's name in the entire 18,000 verses of the Bhagavatam. Never even mentions her directly. The closest he gets is Aradhana, which means one who worships Krishna best. And the understanding is he couldn't say Radharani's name, because if he did, he would have gone into such ecstasy that he wouldn't have been able to finish his primary duty, which was to deliver Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. So he knew, I can't do this if I mention Srimati Radharani's name. So there's a very interesting pastime in the Bhagavad Sandarbha, and it explains how Sukha left Srimati Radharani and went to Lord Krishna and enjoyed Krishna's association, and the gopis came and demanded Krishna to give back Radharani's parrot. And Krishna said, I don't see any name on the parrot. How do you say that it's your parent? There's so many parents. How do you know it's his parent? So it's a long story, a very wonderful story about the potency of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and how that's so important in this age especially. We have Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravan. We should hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and these stories ultimately are from the glories of the Lord. Mathura Vasa, live in a holy place. So this is a holy place. This is a holy place. It's Krishna's house. Krishna's, at least here, we should understand everything should be done for Krishna. We can leave everything else outside with our shoes. But this place is for hearing about Krishna, serving Krishna, taking service, offering service to Krishna. And Sri Murtaya Sradaya Sabha, worshiping the deities in faith and love. Faith and love. So we had devotees, nice initiation ceremony yesterday, and Chaitanya Maharaj initiated second initiation. So that second initiation means a person who's followed the vows and the instructions of the spiritual master nicely for at least, now it's 2 years. 2 years. We made a resolution to that effect. 2 years. And then they can be accepted for second initiation, which means they can be on the altar, worshiping Krishna, touching Krishna, bathing Krishna, like that. And Srila Prabhupada, when he first established the deity worship, he gave the devotees, you do this. You wake them in the morning, you offer them some sweets, you have Mangalarati, you bathe them, you dress them, you did these things. He just told them, you do them, and see what happens. See what happens. And the devotees did those things, and they realized, yes, this is something, this is a person. This is a person. It's not just some wood or some stone, and we're decorating and idol worship. Krishna is there. Krishna is here. Radharani is here. Lord Chaitanya is here. It's just a matter of our reciprocating with their wonderful presence. So everything about Krishna is auspicious. And the easiest thing to do is to hear. It doesn't require any investment. When I was young, I signed up to Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi, his mantra, 35 bucks, 35 bucks, which in South African rands is a few rands now. It's like 700 rands or something. For one word, one word, one word. And the people in India thought Maharishi is a real success story, because he's selling words to these stupid Westerners for 35 bucks. Any word. My word, I'm not supposed to tell you. It's a secret. It's a secret. And if you say it's a secret, then everybody else who has the same word will not know. And we've all been ripped off. We've all been ripped off. Ein. It's a seed sound. It's a seed sound. I'm not going to ask how many other people had the same one, but anyway. There was an interest. Unfortunately, in this age, when people have a spiritual inclination, they're unfortunately caught up in the nets of all these crooked people who want to see that spiritual life is good business. Good business, and people they have no idea what it is. So I can sell it. I can sell it and make some money off it. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story. An embarrassing story. I was distributing books in Pretoria, and it was actually just around the corner from when that bomb blast went off. I was just a week early. And I was distributing books, it wasn't going so great. And this gentleman comes up to me and says, hey, psst, psst. And he's looking down, and he's got something in his hand. It's a box, it's a little box, a clear box. What's in the box? Diamond rings, diamond rings. I was looking. Psst, 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 psst. How much you got? How much you got? How much you got? I said, well, I don't know. I don't have any of my own money. And then I'm thinking, well, I'm not married, but maybe if I want to get married in the future, at least I've got the rings. So how much you got? How much you got? And it says like 1,200 rands. 1,200 rands is a sticker. Of course, the sticker cost less than half a cent. So he's saying, how much you got? How much you got? He's looking around like somebody's going to catch him when he stole it from the jewelry shop. And I don't have any of my money. I don't have any of my money like that. So then we agree on a price, 20 rands. That's all they had, 20 rands. 20 rands. And I thought, wow, this is my lucky day. This is my lucky day. And of course, the first thing that hits you is, I better find out how much I made on this deal, huh? So then I see a jewelry shop and I goes, well, you know, how much is this worth? So about 10 rands. It's worth about 10 rands. So if you don't know what you're looking for, then you can be sold something else quite easily. So Srila Prabhupada was so kind. He never cheated us. He could have cheated us. There was plenty of stupid Westerners. But he wasn't in the business, cheating people. He wanted to give the truth, the absolute truth. So we're all indebted to Srila Prabhupada for his kindness, his mercy, his honesty, and his courage, his determination to deliver Krishna consciousness. And he came here. He came to South Africa simply to distribute Krishna consciousness, and he instructed his disciples, build a temple in Chesma. And here it is. Here it is. So we have the opportunity to hear about Krishna, and that's the perfection. We don't do anything else. We just hear about Krishna, that's perfection. That's what they're doing in the spiritual world. That's what Srimati Radharani and the gopis are doing. They're hearing, they're singing songs of Krishna, they're dancing with Krishna. All these activities. And we can do them here. We were dancing like anything yesterday. Prabhu was really going for it. He was almost halfway to the ceiling. So, it's very simple, and it's very glorious at the same time. Hare Krishna. So there's a boat festival, there's a number of boat pastimes. We're just going to read the one. And I know Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj will probably recite them better. He always puts the embellishments there. But I'll just read. Manasi Ganga manifests and more boat pastimes. Once, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, along with all the Gopas, desired to bathe in the Ganga, and so commenced a pilgrimage to her sacred waters. At that time, Sri Krishna thought to himself, quote, all the Tirthas are residing in this Braj Bhumi, but the Brajbasis are not aware of this fact. I must do something to solve this. While Krishna was meditating in this way, Ganga Devi, personified, appeared on her carrier. What does Ganga Devi ride on? Aha, crocodile. Crocodile. Okay. Brahma rides on a swan. Mother Durga, she rides on a tiger, and Ganga Devi rides on a crocodile. The Brajvasis were surprised to see Ganga Devi and started to discuss among themselves why she had appeared. Krishna said to the Brajvasis, quote, all tirthas are present in Braja to serve Vraj Mandala. When Ganga Devi understood that all the Vrajvasis were planning a pilgrimage to take bath in her, she personally appeared in front of you. You can now take bath right here. Because this tirtha appeared from the mind, mana of Krishna, since that day it has been known as Manasi Ganga. Manasi Ganga. So one of the main places to visit in Vrindavan Dham, Manasi Ganga. And so this pastime takes place here. Once the Brahmin of Mathura were performing a fire sacrifice on the bank of Govinda Kund near Govardhan Hill. So what happened at Govinda Kund? What happened? That's the Kund where Lord Indra and Surabhi bathed Krishna after Indra tried to kill everybody in Vrindavan. He was upset. He tried to kill all the Vrindavan Vasis, all of the devotees of Krishna. Boy, that was a bad move. Bad move. And he's supposed to be a devotee. But sometimes we go so crazy. We go so crazy. Mad, mana, kama, krodha, mada, moha. Mada means madness or pride. Of course, all madness comes from pride when we think we're something special and not simply a humble servant of Krishna. So, in that place, after Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill and saved all the Brajavasis, and there's a lot more to that platform, pastime, because on the bottom of Govardhan Hill, there's a lot happening there that's revealed later. But still, Lord Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill and held it up on his little pinky for 7 days. And the interesting point is, Krishna gets up in the morning and he's attended by his friend, his servants, Mother Yashoda's servants. He has breakfast and then he goes out, leaves them behind, and then he goes out to herd the cows. And then after he herds the cows, then he comes back and then he has to milk the cows. You don't herd cows without milking them. You have to milk them too. So he does that, and during different parts of the day, different devotees have Krishna's association for a little time. And then Krishna goes on to associate with other of his servants. But the thing about lifting Govardhan Hill is that everyone in Vrindavan had the unbroken association 24/7 of Sri Krishna while he's holding up Govardhan Hill. So that was a feast for the eyes. Okay. They were performing a fire sacrifice on the bank of Govinda Kund near Govardhan Hill. Purnamasi announced all over Vraja that whoever attended this sacrifice and offered havya would receive the benediction of long life for their husbands and would increase the number of cows that they owned. On hearing this announcement, all the elderly ladies of Vraja sent havyas in the hands of their daughters-in-law, thinking the situation to be an opportunity to see Krishna. Radharani and her Sakis planned to attend the auspicious yajna and prepared to carry many milk products to offer. To reach Govinda Kund, the gopis had to cross Manasi Ganga by boat. As Radharani and her Sakis reached the Ghat, they saw Krishna standing with the boat. As they approached, he called out, "Come, come, I've kept a boat for you on the bank." Radharani and the gopis climbed into the boat with all their pots of yogurt, butter, ghee, and other products. But immediately Radharani noticed the condition of the boat and said to Krishna, "O boatman, you look very young. Why is your boat so old? Good and qualified things give pleasure to the mind, and bad and unqualified things give sadness. Anyway, that is another topic. You should take us to the other side of the river very soon. We will attend the fire sacrifice at Govinda Kund." After hearing the request of the gopis, Krishna, "Your words are all true. I am here with this incompetent boat in order that I might get something competent. If I will get something better, then immediately I will give up this old boat. If you give me one competent taruni," which also means young girl, "then I will give up this tarani, this old boat." The Saki said to Krishna, quote, "Everyone uses a tarani to cross the river. Will you use a taruni? We have never heard such an astonishing thing as someone crossing the river by the help of a young girl." So they used to do all these riddles. And Srimati Radharani, as Maharaj was saying yesterday, she's expert in speaking. Not only logic and philosophy, but funny sayings. Krishna said, "But it is not impossible. Just consider my presentation. A Tarani takes us across the river, and a Taruni can take us across the ocean of material existence. In this way, Tarunis, young girls, are more powerful than Taranis, boats." The gopis laughed at Krishna's presentation and said, "O Govinda, you know many tricks, but we are simply coward girls. We do not understand all this. You just take us to the other side of the river." Govinda was having fun with the gopis and began to row the boat very fast. Soon the boat was out of control and waves were splashing in, wetting the gopis' clothing and hair. They began to tremble in fear, and their cloth fell from their bodies. And in great anxiety they cried, "O boatman, all this milk and yogurt and ghee is wasted. Even if we die here, there is no problem for us, but we are worried. If the news of our boat sinking reaches Vraja, then your infamy will remain eternally. For how can such a disaster occur where Govinda is present?" Saying this, the gopis looked upon the lotus face of Sri Govinda. Smiling softly, Krishna said to them, "Do not be worried. Your milk will not be destroyed. For a long time I've desired to see your bodies all at the one time in a solitary place. Today Vayudev has fulfilled my desire by removing the cloth from your bodies in the wind." At that time, to intensify the Leela, Yoga Maya created an island in the middle of Manasi Ganga. Krishna, Radharani, and their Sakis performed sweet pastimes there. After some time, they all crossed the river and carried on to the yajna. So that's just one of the boating pastimes. Yes, right. Okay. So Krishna joked and played pranks on the gopis, and the gopis also had their fun with Krishna. And this was their enjoyment, day after day after day. So we can read a little bit more. There was a nice pastime. Oh, you know the story about Radharani bitten by the snake? Chaitanya Maharaj tells that story so wonderfully. He talks about the snake. You've heard that one. I won't be able to meet that one. Let's see. Does anyone have any comment or question? Reflection? Oh.
Krishna?
Yes. Right.
Thank you very much for continuing the mood of Radha this past time. Now, during Radhastami, we have direct access to eating for the mercy of Radha or any other festival. Personalities can give us direct benediction. But for us in the Gaudiya line, we're told that to access the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we have to go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, sometimes you see that devotees try to access Radharani mercy directly. Sometimes it's also some sentiment involved in the way they approach Srimati Radharani. Could you please give some clarity, instruction on how we should engage in our prayers to get that mercy?
Thank you. Well, we can't approach Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And you possibly celebrated the Chiradoi festival of Radhanath Goswami at Panihati. It's sometimes called Panihati Festival or Chiradoi Festival, yogurt and flat rice festival. So that festival proves that one cannot get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya unless one gets the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda. And ultimately we understand we cannot get the mercy of Lord Nityananda without the mercy of the 6 Goswamis. We can't get the mercy of the 6 Goswamis without the mercy of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So, if we think that we can approach Krishna directly, we can't. We need Srimati Radharani's mercy. But Radharani's mercy, though she's so merciful, we still have to have the right mentality. We have to understand what our position is. And we're simply humble servants of the spiritual master. There's a very nice verse in the first Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 46. Acharyamam vijaniyam navamanyeta karichit namarchabuja suyeta sarva deva maya guru. And Krishna says that don't consider the spiritual master to be an ordinary person. Don't envy him. Don't envy the spiritual. You can envy anybody else. And we do. We envy everybody. We envy people that are better off than us. And we envy people who are less off from us. Isn't it kind of stupid? We envy people that are less fortunate than ourselves. So that's what envy is madness, craziness. But he's saying, don't envy the spiritual master, because he's not an ordinary person. And what is ordinary person? We're all ordinary persons. How come the spiritual master is different? And devotees ask Srila Prabhupada that question. How do we tell people? How do we explain to people that the spiritual master is not an ordinary person? And Srila Prabhupada replied, he says, I know that behind everything, there's Krishna. Behind everything, there's Krishna. Whether it's something good, something bad, something horrible, something terrible, something wonderful, ultimately Krishna is behind everything. So, and therefore, we can't understand Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra Na Bhujaya Na Vigyan Pujaya. You can't understand the activities of a pure devotee. Why? Because he's not acting according to the push and pull of this material world. We are. If somebody stops driving in front of us in the street, we have to stop. Somebody runs into the back of us. There's push and pull. Then we have to go to the police station, make the report. Then we have to write the letter to the insurance company. That all this stuff is just the reactions and reactions of this material world. But a pure devotee doesn't work under that karma, action and reaction. He works under the direction of Krishna. And Krishna moves his pure devotees accordingly. So that verse says that the spiritual master is considered either one of the confidential associates of Srimati Radharani or a manifest representative of Srila Nityananda Prabhu. So Lord Nityananda, Lord Balaram is the original guru, So if we want to make progress, we want the mercy, then we have to line up, we have to fall in line with the directions of the pure devotee. And then the mercy of all the personalities in our Guru Parampara, and ultimately of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna, they will come to us. Okay, there's a question. So who do we pray to? Srimati Radharani or Lord Krishna? Please clarify. So, good question. Difficult to answer because we pray to both. We pray to both. Mars was explaining the Gaudiyas. The Gaudiyas, Shri Radha Radhanath. As Gaudiyas, we actually worship Srimati Radharani. We worship Srimati Radharani, but we follow the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would be in Vrindavan, and Srimati Radharani is called the Queen of Vrindavan. And everyone, Prabhupada would go on his morning walk, and devotees would go by in Vrindavan. Everyone says, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. And Prabhupada would say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You never caught Prabhupada saying Jai Radhe. Of course, in his lectures he would say. But we follow Srila Prabhupada's example so that we don't become confused. There are so many. When you go to India, India is a wonderful place. It's also a dangerous place. It's a dangerous place not only because of physical diseases, but there's some spiritual diseases there too. Sahajiism and different kind of upasampradayas that have misunderstood and misrepresent the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So one has to be careful to keep the best association, and therefore one won't be fooled. So many devotees, they become fooled. If someone's wearing saffron color, and they have a beard and long hair and a stick, and they appear to be playing the part of a sadhu very nicely. But then you see they're smoking bidi, and maybe they have a girlfriend, a couple of girlfriends, like that. So it means they're not following. They're not following. And Srila Prabhupada wanted to make sure, as much as possible, that we weren't fooled by these bogus personalities. Unfortunately, some were, and some still are, unfortunately, because we don't have that spiritual intelligence. So we have to take shelter. We have to take shelter of the spiritual master. And we recognize him as the confidential servant of Srimati Radharani. So we worship both. We worship Radha and Krishna. And as we advance in our spiritual understanding, as we advance in our service to Srila Prabhupada, then it becomes clear who we are. Who we are. We don't know. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we are, even in this life, practically speaking. It's an interesting thing. Like Prabhu mentioned, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee, America. And the way I was raised, the culture I was brought up with, even though we speak the same language, almost, they don't speak English in America. They speak American in America. And the British, we have a nice devotee in Cape Town, Shamananda Krishna, and he really gets upset the way we speak the king's English, or the queen's English. Of course, it's a king. So, but the way a person uses words, it's completely part of their culture and their upbringing. So I may say something, and you may think you understand what I'm saying, but you don't. You don't understand it the way I'm saying it. And I don't understand the way you're understanding it. So complicate that a bit, and we don't really understand. And that's the problem with materialistic life, is we want to put everybody in a box. The men over here, the ladies over here, the kids over there. And we don't want to deal with people individually. It's too much trouble. It's too much trouble to deal with people as people. As interesting, wonderful people, and especially devotees. Devotees have such a wealth of experience and of experiences in service. We should want to know. We should want to sit down when we go to India for the ISKCON Leadership Sangha. They encourage the devotees, when you take prasadam, don't sit with all your buddies. Go sit with someone you don't know. Someone you don't know, you don't even know their name. And just sit down and speak with them and reveal yourself, who you are. Find out who they are, what they went through to become a devotee. And some devotees that are sitting here, the road has been tough. And it's still tough. It's still tough. But they're sticking with service of the spiritual master. They still make the instruction of the spiritual master their life and soul. So we're interesting people, and we should try to learn more and more from each and every individual devotee. So Prabhupada taught us to worship Krishna, and we worship Krishna as we were reading yesterday. That Krishna doesn't really listen to us unless we say Radharani's name first. And Maharaj gave the example, Prabhupada was asking the devotees, who's God? Who's God? Prabhupada is asking devotees, who's God? How many people were here yesterday for that and heard that, remember that? Because, yeah. So, the devotees said, Krishna, Krishna. And Prabhupada said, no. Prabhupada said, no. Krishna is not God. He said, Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna. So it's a deep philosophical point, and it's mentioned in detail by Krishnadas Kaviraj in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Chapter 4, the position of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna. So, we worship both. Who do we pray to? You can pray to both. You can pray to Srimati Radharani to get Krishna's mercy. And you can pray to Sri Krishna to get Srimati Radharani's mercy. They're both capable and qualified. Okay. All right. How long do we have? Till 1?
Once again, after the part finished by the Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Sometimes you get that point, that's why we say Hare Krishna, Radha Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah, Hare Krishna. So we begin with Hare. And different devotees at different times, myself included, sometimes we put more of a reflection on Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare. So when we're chanting the holy names, then we put more inflection on the name of Radharani. Because we know whatever Radharani, if she accepts us, if she will accept us, then Krishna will accept us. If she will say that, Krishna, here's this nice devotee, you must accept that. And Krishna will say, no problem, no problem. So, whatever Srimati Radharani, whoever becomes dear to Srimati Radharani, automatically becomes dear to Krishna. So that's the special focus of Radhastami, the person who asked this question. We focus especially on Srimati Radharani's appearance day, on her position as the controller of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme controller. We were telling that there's Madan Mohan. Krishna, Radha, Madan Mohan means Krishna, the controller of Madan. Madan is Cupid. Cupid is lust. And we were reading here, I didn't see that part of it, but the wind blew the gopis' clothes off. Blew the gopis' clothes off now. Now for the ladies, that won't be a problem. For the men, it might be a problem. Thinking that the clothes of these women have blown off. So if we're affected, physically affected by those words, then it's not suitable information for us to think about. We should go back to Bhagavad Gita, and get that straight. So, we have to recognize where we are spiritually. And we are actually worshiping Radha and Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. We have these understandings of Krishna's intimate pastimes, which are there in the Bhagavatam. But our standard of worship is actually for Lakshmi Narayan. So we're not capable or qualified for, generally, for accepting and understanding Srimati Radharani and Krishna's intimate pastimes. And if we're not qualified to hear, we can hear. Prabhupada presented the Krishna book, and he also presented Chaitanya Charitamrita, which has some fairly intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But if we're not serious, if we're not careful, then we can misunderstand those pastimes. So we have to be careful and serious to accept Krishna's pastimes as the perfection of life. Otherwise, this was Prabhupada's great fear, that we consider Radha and Krishna's pastimes to be ordinary activities of boys and girls. And we can go to hell. So he was concerned in that way. So we have to be careful. Srimati Radharani, she's the purest of the pure. And we have to chant very carefully, very humbly, and very with a mood of being servants. Otherwise, this enjoying spirit, it's very difficult to get rid of. It's very difficult. And it's based on the bodily concept. And the bodily concept is based on male-female, male-female. So, you are not ladies, and you are not men. We are all servants of Krishna. If we identify with that particular point, then we can make spiritual progress. As long as I'm thinking I'm a man, or I'm an American, and you're a woman, and you're an Indian, or you're an Australian, or this or that, as long as we have these upadis, these materialistic designations, we can't understand the first thing about spiritual life. Sarvapati vinir muktam. Vinir muktam means become free of all these material designations. Sarvapati vinir muktam. Tad paratvaina nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha. Sevanam bhaktamut. That we are just servants of the senses of God. That's what our purpose is. So it's a deep philosophical point, and therefore it's important for us to hear, it's important for us to study Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And he wanted us so much to do that. Even the devotees who were distributing tons of his books, when he would meet them, he wouldn't ask them how many books you distributed. What would he ask them? He would ask them, are you reading my books? Are you reading my books? And one time in France, and they were leading the world in the distribution of Prabhupada's big books. And Prabhupada, they were on a morning walk. Prabhupada asked them, are you reading my books? And this one devotee said, well, Prabhupada, we don't have time. And this other devotee, he could hear Prabhupada say, under his breath, he says, what is the use? What is the use? He says, I've written these books for you. And he made a joke. He said he pretended that he was a book distributor, and he gave the book to somebody, and somebody opened the book and says, well, what's this about? And the devotee said, well, I don't know. I'm just supposed to distribute it. Prabhupada made that joke. It wasn't a funny joke, because it was pretty true. But devotees who read Prabhupada's books, and they can distribute Prabhupada's books. And we ask everyone to do that. Do that. When I joined, that was all there was. There was just book distribution, really. And in bigger temples, there was deity worship with char. Of course, there's always cooks. If you're a cook, we've got a place for you. Just ask Peru right here. You can cook, you've got a job. But more than a job. But so that was our service, was going out and distributing books. But if you don't know the books, it's hard to distribute. So yeah. So we want to take advantage of this wonderful weekend. The potency of it continues. Of all the kirtan, of all the speaking, the potency of it is still in our consciousness. We remember in London is hell, Prabhupada certified, London, hell. Hope we don't have any Londoners here. But it's a 15 million sinful people in one place. You can feel, I was serving in Ireland, and Ireland is kind of an interesting blend of goodness and ignorance. The people are nice, but they're just not very sharp. They're not very sharp. Again, hope we don't have any Irish here. But I was serving there, and we were driving in for the Ratha Yatra in London from Dublin. We had a temple there, and as we're getting into London, you could feel the heaviness of the sins, practically speaking. But after Radha Yatra, for a few days, even London was nice. The people, you go up and distribute books, and people, oh, this is nice, I'll take it. For a couple of days, it was still pretty good. So the atmosphere created by these wonderful festivals, it purifies our hearts, purifies our consciousness. It helps us come up to that platform where we can begin to see things, not just in our own selfishness, but we can see things as we're servants of Krishna, and that it's a wonderful life, and it's the sky is the limit. So we thank everyone who's participated in the festivals, and we encourage you always to take advantage whenever. And the spiritual world is a festival every day. Every word is a song, every step is a dance, and every day is a festival. As long as Temple President can afford it. That we can afford it. But in the spiritual world, they can always pull out a few diamonds and pearls. So it's not a problem. So please take advantage. We were mentioning the other day, myself and Chaitanya Maharaj, we traveled for 5 years collecting funds to help construct this temple. And it was Srila Prabhupada's grace upon us to keep us engaged in that way. But it's a wonderful facility. Very few places in the world have such a beautiful temple to come and see the beautiful forms of their Lordship, and to chant Hare Krishna, and to associate with devotees. So we thank you very much. Srimati Radharani, please. Shri Radharani, Shri Giriraj Govardhan, Shri Gaura Hari, Prabhupada, Gaura Prema.
Let's have another round of applause. is deeply amazing. I think it's such a wonderful class. Everybody is so involved in it. And also we appreciate all of you have come for the Sunday Lunch program. Those who stand in the door, you can come in. Come for the first time, welcome. Please come in. And we're going to have some few time just now. So I want you to please acknowledge the nearby Amahata chief led by His Grace Prabhu, who prepared the Sunday Love Feast today. Let's have a